All right, Paul Lapis here with Remax Hallmark here in Toronto, and I'm back this week with another market update. This week I'll be looking at the data that was released by the Toronto Real Estate Board for the month of February. So a deep dive into that sales data shows that sales are up 33% month over month. So this is definitely a significant increase from January, and we're definitely seeing the market pick up. But in a zoomed out or more perspective on the market is that we're still down 20% from our long-term or 10-year average. So yes, the market is increasing, but that's from all-time lows, as sales were almost at record bottom levels in December and January. However, some market segments of the market are outperforming others. Semi-detached in Toronto, we're still seeing sold over asking at almost 60%, which is indicative of a seller's market. And even Durham, so 905 region has been slow for the last few months. We've seen Durham pick up, and that was at over 50% sold over asking. Condo market's still really slow at only 20% sold over asking, and this metric just it's good pulse to see what's happening, how many buyers are competing for properties, and that's still relatively low for the condo. Next, if we look at new listings, so these are sellers coming to the market. New listings are up 37% month over month and 36% from last year. This is putting at us in the range around a little bit above, but 2% above our long-term average. So sellers are coming back to the market at a kind of average historical rate, while buyers are still relatively low. So this means the kind of list to sales ratio is still kind of in that balance to buyer's market, again, except for the semi-detached segment and even certain parts of the 905. So the York region, Durham, and Halton, those have all increased to above 50% list to sales ratio, which is more than balanced, kind of approaching almost a seller's market. So we're definitely seeing some tighter market conditions in certain pockets. Inventory is up 10% month over month, and this has to go with the difference in the balance of buyers versus sellers in the market. And so we're definitely seeing elevated levels, still 7% over our historic norm for an amount of inventory we should see in February. But the month of inventory, that data which I track to see how does that relate to where data should be, months of inventory are all coming down across the board. Even condos is sitting at about 3.5 months of inventory, and that's down from the 5 months of inventory that we saw back in the winter in December. So definitely inventory is tightened up. It was 3-4 months of consecutive inventory dropping. Now this is the first time we're seeing inventory increase, and we're likely going to see inventory continue to increase until June, into the peak of the spring market. But likely my expectation is that inventory will stay above historic norms. Even if it's slight, it will be definitely above where we're used to. Looking at the average price, this is always a big one. Average price increased 8% from last month. So that was a big jump in price, putting us back at our 2021 average around 1.1 million. So we've been floating in around this average for the last few years. Obviously, we've had our ups and peaks in 2022 and some lows in late 2023, but we're starting to see kind of that price average around 1.1 pretty consistently. Now, prices could continue to go up as more buyers return to the market. It really depends on what happens with inventory and interest rates going forward. Looking into, let's say, freehold versus in the low rise in the city versus in the 905, we saw low rises across the board pretty consistent. So sales upticked by about 20% for freehold in the 416 and the 905, and the average price also both increased around 6 to 8% in both areas. So acting pretty much in accordance and are aligned with each other. The big difference is the year over year numbers, where average price is actually down 2% for freehold low-rise housing in Toronto compared to this time last year. So just a nominal difference, whereas the 905 is up 2% from last year. Finally, looking at the condo market, the condo segment did pick up. It was pretty slow the last few months, but we did see prices uptick to $726,000 as the average price. 13% gain in sales, 13% gain in new listings and inventory. So up across the board in terms of activity, more buyers, but even more sellers in the market. So that's it for this week in terms of the market update. I'll keep putting these out every week. I'll probably touch more on the business insolvencies and the increase in unemployment rate next week. But stay tuned for that. And if you have any comments, questions, feel free to write them below. Thanks so much.